Hello, friends and family of the Dar. My name is Hind Al-Khatrash. I'll be your host for the evening. Hiwar is a new segment that's recently been added to this 27th cultural season. The format operates a little differently from most talks here at the Dar. Instead of a lecture, we're adding a more conversational twist to things. And we're met today with our wonderful speaker, who will be having a conversation with more closely, both with myself and then later on the audience. This season's Hiwar sessions focus on Kuwaiti pioneering women in various domains. Today, we look at women in nonprofit organizations, and we are honored to be joined by a pioneer that not only has paved the way for the field here in Kuwait, but perhaps also the region. So without further ado, let's begin with our guest tonight, Ms. Faten al Bader. Ms. Faten, before we jump into your wonderful, incredible work with the center, I wanted to get a more kind of closer look at what your personal background was. Can you set the stage for us? What was your early career like? What was your first job?
Yeah. It's nice to remember. The last thing I would like to remember is that the last thing I had in mind is to be a teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. And just life pushed me there, and I'm sure it was for a reason. That's my career. I was a teacher of English.
Yes.
And I stayed there and for a while. And I need to remember some of the history.
No worries.
And
were there other supervisor roles involved in your career?
I was a teacher in the beginning, then I became inspector, and then I had immediately became a senior inspector and so on, because at the time there weren't many teachers, Kuwaiti teachers in this field.
Right.
Yeah.
So and was
anyway,
a teacher of English, yes. Perfect. And how long did that last for?
I learned a lot, actually. I learned a lot during that one. It was 3 years plus 3, not much.
Okay.
And then, I became inspector after that, maybe 6 years only. Intermediate level, high school, and then inspector.
Well, it's interesting for your career to have started that way, because eventually it did kind of continue in the teaching domain and the education domain. So it was very fortunate for you to have started there. Would you say it was your teaching job that kind of gave you the insight of how desperately needed special education was here in Kuwait, or much needed in Kuwait?
Yes. Yes and no. Yes and no. I wasn't really aware at the time of something called learning disability,
right?
Which is, by definition, learning disabled children. They have a normal intelligence standard, and some of them have very high level of intelligence, and they have difficulty in certain area, and it was an obstacle. They couldn't learn in the school. They couldn't cope with the situation. It was very hard. Teachers would think they are lazy, they are naughty, and things like that. Unfortunately, they were punished all the time for that way.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing at home.
Right.
Parents didn't realize that there is a problem with the child, rather than being naughty and strong-headed and so on.
Of course.
So it is, and it's affected them so badly, these children. They can be very important people.
Yeah.
Many of the scientists in the world, they're said to be learning disabled.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that you mentioned that they are of average intelligence. It's just the way the information is conveyed to them, the way they process the information is different. And those are the techniques that really need to be developed with both our teachers and parents at home to help maximize the child's potential, really.
They need special ways. They need trained staff.
Right.
They need material. They need IQ tests. They need a special tests to identify the needs of the children.
Right.
It's not an easy job.
Yes.
And we were faced with that responsibility, so we had to travel to the state and get training. I remember in 1983, I went to the state with some friends, and they were members in the center later. And our chairman, bless his soul, he was there. And we got training. We were like children sitting and listening and learning about learning disability and the possibility and how to do things. And really, we were taken care of there, definitely.
I think we spoke of this a little earlier. One really important ingredient, let's say, to all of this was patience. It's something we really don't see much with either students or teachers. And I feel that's ironically something you were taught by students, actually.
We were students.
Yes,
We
indeed.
still are. All of us here.
That's amazing. That's one way to definitely look at it. So to dive more deeply into the Center of Child Evaluation and Teaching, I understand that the center was definitely a group effort joined by a lot of committed and dedicated individuals. What would you say was the emotion that really bonded you all to want to start this?
To decide to start the center?
To decide to start the center.
Some of the members, they had their own pains with their children, whether they were learning disabled or not.
Right.
It was there. And some see the value of taking care of special need children. So it depends. We were different group. And it was amazing. I remember actually some of the people that are still here, and some of the people left us, unfortunately, to the other side. And among them was Paula Sabah. Among them was Evelyn Al-Ayoub, Abdullah Sharhan, the chairman and my husband, bless his soul, and many others.
Perhaps
Shamlan Al-Isa, Dr. Shamlan Al-Isa was with us. There were many people, good people.
I believe we have some visuals with us today. I think this picture is very telling.
It's too small for my eyes.
Yes.
Yes, I could see. I mean, there is no need to overwhelm you with names of people.
Yeah. And I think one really important fact.
But you could see. I mean, this is a house, an old house. This is an old house. Sheikh Hassa keeps reminding me that I have a speaker. This is the old house. You remember these houses, and yes, Lulwa, you're here too. Yeah. And, this is the old team, Professor Diane Kolopoulos. We had American people, and that's how we started. That's how we started. We went and visited schools and decided to start.
Beautiful.
So if we're going to talk about early times.
Yes, for sure. And I think what is also worth mentioning is you all were very much bonded, not only by the pain and frustration of having children with
learning disabilities.
Yeah, children with learning disabilities, but rather also wanting to really come together and showcase the fact that these children have a lot of potential, and give other parents hope that they can really reach that potential through correct methods and through correct training.
It was amazing. It was a miracle.
Yeah.
And I would like to go back and explain the early days of the center. What we did, we brought some expert from Landmark School, and we started lectures to, at the time, the good old time, many ministers were there, and, many important people attending the training program at the time. It was something new, and they all wanted to know about it. And it was fantastic, really. It went very well. And after that, we prepared them, and they were very happy. And they said, we will help you. We will help you. And they did help us a lot. Thanks to Kuwait for that. Thanks to Kuwait for that, definitely.
So the center initially specialized in evaluating children as well as teaching them.
Yeah, we do. We do evaluation. Evaluation is a very, very complex issue. And we started with English IQ tests because we didn't have any material available to us in Arabic. And then we started working on that. We started translating it and standardize it. And each test could take approximately about 3 years to finish with it. So it was a hell of a job for us to do all these tests. We had many as many as 10 of them over the years. And we did that. It's available not only for Kuwait, but for the whole Arab world. Thank God for that.
And can you share the importance of translating these tests? Why is it so important for the children to be able to take them in Arabic?
It is very important. It could be given both in English and in Arabic, depending on the background of the child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's this cultural aspect.
But I would certainly, I prefer the Arabic language, but the culture of Arabic, there are certain hidden questions that you need to say it in Arabic to the child to understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
Maha and I had the honor of touring the center this week with Adir. And one thing that really struck me was even the specialists involved in the evaluation process were of Kuwaiti background to fully and comprehensively ensure that the child is accommodated with their culture in mind throughout the whole process. Very impressive.
Thank you very much. I
Truly.
wish that many people, as many as possible, they visit the center and see the work that was done there by Kuwaiti people and Arabic people as well, definitely.
So it was around 1983 that you and your team really started breaking ground on this very ambitious project to really help a very underserved segment of society. In the 80s, I don't think anyone was considering children with learning disability or difficulties, let's say. How was that met by society? How were officials in the Ministry of Education and other sectors supporting your work?
We trained them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. we trained the leader, and we took some of the leader for a trip to the USA.
Beautiful.
To visit some schools there and get some training there. We did spend so much money on training our staff. And I think we did, Fatuma, if you remember, I don't know, a couple of visits or maybe 3 times, visits to the state. And for many, not only from the center, for other institutions in Kuwait, to train them, to deal with children. Yes, we did that. And what was your question, by the way? This is after the corona. I mean, you start with thinking, and then I told you that we forget.
Simply, how was the center or your work supported by officials? And as we can see, not only did officials support your work, but you eventually kind of returned the favor by training them. Training them, exactly.
Training them to understand.
Yes.
And to give us the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. And then training their staff and the schools.
Right.
Everybody in Kuwait that wanted to be trained. And we still do that.
That's
ongoing. Still
really,
ongoing.
Really and it didn't take long, mashallah, for the center to have almost 2, let's say, model schools in place that really kind of showcase the center and its work at its prime. This was late 80s, not even 10 years after starting. So in a very short period of time, you've not only established yourself, but you've also created these model schools that both locals and people in the region look towards to see how, it's done properly. Can you tell us more about the buildings in the early years that were kind of constructed and used for the center?
You mean the old buildings?
Yes.
As I said, we took 2 of the old buildings, and one for the administration and testing and evaluation, and the other building was like a little school.
Perhaps we have some visuals with us we can refer
maybe
to
some
here.
Pictures, yes. And look at this, look at this building, I guess you remember those beautiful houses by the sea. And, this is where we started, and we'll show you later what we have right now. Thanks to Kuwait for that.
And these were based in Shuweikh, was it?
Pardon?
Were these based in Shuweikh?
It was based in Shuweikh, yeah. It was based in Shuweikh. There was so much work there, so much work there. Here's Dr. Diane Kalopoulos, myself, and some of the children. Abir, do you notice one of the children, though? The little boy. Yeah.
Can you share who the...
I just realized that, yeah. And some of the people I'm standing next to the chairman, bless his soul, and some of the group. We meet together and then we honor some of it. It was just a small villa, and we made miracles there, really. I mean, it was amazing.
Truly, to think of such a small team
In the beginning,
achieving so
in the
much.
beginning. This is a new, later on. This is later on when we built, yeah.
I believe this was perhaps one of the
Yeah, this is where
earlier
we
pictures.
received parents. This is where we received parents at the time, yes.
Beautiful.
And the administration there, that's right.
Amazing.
Yeah. Have I answered the question? Or
Yes. So we wanted to just kind of get an idea of the model schools and what they looked like. Were they separated based on evaluation and training? Or was it
The
a girls'
children.
campus or boys' campus? Yes.
Yeah, the first step is the request.
Mm.
The parent come and tell us, I have a problem with my child. Is he stupid? He's not listening, he's naughty, and this and that. And said, okay, well, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And we take the history of the child from the parent, and we usually sit with both of them.
Right.
And then we start with the child. We have certain IQ tests to see whether the child is low function or what I say, there's nothing called normal here,
Right.
or capable of. He understands. He's above average.
Right.
And by definition, learning disabled children, as I told you before, they are average to above average intelligence. Mm-hmm. And once we realize that the child is average to over average, we start with the child and see what are the difficulty, and we pinpoint it, and we start from there. By allowing him to have private, that's in the beginning, of course, private tutorials.
Right.
Yes, or join the program in the center that was available at the time.
Yes. And from our visit, again, I think we saw how very intimate the classes were, and they were really focused on not only the child, but the child and teacher relationship, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To-
Yeah, it was one-to-one. Yeah, it was one-to-one. And they need that badly.
Yes.
They need that badly. But in the beginning, there were very few numbers.
Yes.
Okay, and we started teaching and learning at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And standardizing at the same time. So
Right.
it was a very tough time for us and a beautiful time to remember now.
And I think it's worth sharing with the audience that although the students come into the school, they don't necessarily have to finish or graduate all their years at the school. It's just a phase for them to learn these essential learning skills, and then they're reintegrated back into society to continue pursuing their education.
They go back to their schools.
Exactly.
Yeah, before graduation. Definitely they have to graduate from the school.
Right.
Yeah, so but we put them on their feet and send them back.
Put them on their feet, exactly. Unfortunately, like many other institutions, the center had to come to a screeching halt in the 1990 invasion. But interestingly, there was a notable Saudi philanthropist that took interest in both yourself and your work. And he wanted to continue supporting that during and after the invasion. Can you share that story with us?
Yes. During the invasion or before the invasion?
I believe his interest started before the invasion.
Absolutely. Yes. Let me see the names now. I have to remember the name.
Sure.
Abir, I need your help.
There we go. It's right here.
Mm.
Here we go.
Yes. It's the story with the Prince Talal bin Walid. Bless his soul. And he believed in us.
Mm.
And he supported the center with a lot of money on yearly basis.
Oh, wow.
And during the invasion, he got in touch with me when we were in Bahrain and asked me, it's time to stand up and go around the Arab countries, visit them and tell them about Kuwait and about the opportunity that Kuwait has to help children with a special need. And we did not have that in Saudi Arabia. We did not have in any other Arabic country.
Right.
So bless his soul, that was a step forward after the invasion. It's difficult to remember that hard time. It was really, really difficult without having tears in your eyes.
Of course.
And remember the destruction that happened to the country and to the schools and to the work we had done. They destroyed it completely. They stole all the standardized tests we had, that we spent time and effort and money on that. And it was, if you have the picture of what we received after the liberation of Kuwait, this is what we received. This is how it looked like when we came, unfortunately. But that didn't stop us. It did not stop us from anything. We had to bend down and clean the floor, all of us. And with tears, we did it with our tears. We cleaned the center again and brought furniture from our homes and put it there. And looked in the garbage for IQ tests that we spent so much effort into doing it and money into it. And we found it. Some of it only. We had to repeat many others. And we stood up.
Yeah.
We made it again and made it bigger and bigger.
That's so, exactly the kind of success story we all hope to hear. And it's wonderful that it continued to bring the community together once again to help rebuild the center, and it was met with the same support, if not even more support, from when you first started in the 80s.
Even, I remember now, even during the invasion, Prince Talal asked me to make a tour in the Arab world and talk about Kuwait and talk about the center.
Amazing.
And I went there, and this helped me to be able to, after the invasion, after the liberation, of Kuwait, to get in touch with them and help them.
That's amazing.
And it was fantastic. It was really fantastic. The Arab world was fantastic in reaction to us, and then welcoming us and taking care of us. Right. And it was a hell of a lesson. Hell of a lesson. You don't remember that. Thank God for that. But we do. We do.
Right. I think it's really impressive to see the kind of impact the center has, not only locally, but truly regionally, and the ripple effect that it has kind of created, the expertise that it has exported and shared with so many neighboring countries, probably to this day even. We
did have a program to help other countries. And we started, I don't remember the names, one by one, but we did Saudi Arabia. I think we did 2 sessions of training in Saudi Arabia and the Emirate.
Beautiful.
And, many others, Arab country as well. I don't recall. I wrote it somewhere, but I don't recall. Anyway. I'm sorry about that,
no
but many Arab countries,
But one really great milestone the center saw after the invasion was as it was being rebuilt and as you were kind of working to get back on your feet, there was a breakthrough finally with the funding and the tuition for children, and how there was a really strong partnership established with the Ministry of Education.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us more about that?
We wouldn't be here talking about the experience without the help of the government. Not only the Ministry of Education, the government, and the Ministry of Social Affairs and many other ministries, they all help us. The rulers themselves, they were the backbone for that. Beautiful. And we had great help to stand up again. And not only that, they gave us a big piece of land and money to build it. It's the people, the families, Kuwaiti families, Kuwaiti people, donors, they gave us the money and they said, go ahead and build a new center. And we did.
And is that the new Surra Center now? that we see today.
And that's the center now. You can put a picture compared to this one.
Yeah.
That's the playground of the new one, I guess.
And then
And this is the new
building
center
front.
now. Yeah, this is the new center now. It's a beautiful building, huge, with classes and library, and it is amazing. I wish if you could visit it one day and have a look at it. You're welcome to do that.
Fully equipped with cooking classes, art classes, music
We
classes.
had a kitchen and we trained them to cook. They were very good at it. And, we give them healthy meals and interaction. It's interaction in the kitchen. And they learn language and organizational skill in the kitchen and all that. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot, yeah. I wish if I could, go through it, but I think it takes a very long time, yeah.
Definitely. I was mentioning Ta'abir, I'm sure students must feel so, hurt to have to leave the school and go back to the regular schools after leaving, after
but
having
we
such an
do
exciting
not
environment.
let go of the children. We do not let go of the children. They leave us because we want them to stand on their feet, okay? But we have an evening program where they can come and get special tutoring until they graduate.
Beautiful.
We have many doctors, many engineers, many important people now that were our children. And they still visit the center and help the other children, which is amazing, really amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning that this all is incredibly free of cost, thanks to the partnership with the Ministry of Education. Based on your partnership, so if you can kind of walk us through it a little more, once a child is expected or maybe diagnosed with maybe having some learning difficulties, they're sent immediately to the center, correct?
The children that are diagnosed by us as learning disabled children, they are accepted into the program from the Ministry of Education, financed by the government. Okay, and that's how we survive. We take tuition for the children that comes in, and we can survive and go on offering the services.
Of course, and it's really helped serve children from all areas in Kuwait.
Absolutely. Not only that, we had a training program to the regular school in Kuwait, which lasted for many years.
Wow.
And we bring expert and translation, and we teach them how to teach and how to, the psychologists, how to test the children, how to evaluate them. And we made, I think we made a few schools, I don't remember exactly the number, that they were similar to the center there. I don't know what happened, though, after that, because we left. And this was financed not by the government, بس بالأوقاف. They donated money, and we did it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And how do you feel from a societal standpoint that your work, your education, your raising of awareness has helped in the society's perception of people with special needs? Do you feel there's a lot more kind of awareness now around this topic and people don't feel that kind of stigma around it anymore?
I can just give you a very brief answer to that. Some of the doctors and some of the engineers that graduated, they can stand and talk to the public and they said, "Hi, I am learning disabled. And now I am an engineer. Now I am a teacher." Some of them became teachers.
Amazing.
Okay. Or in military service. Just amazing experience.
I feel like you've really been able to, over the years, see the fruit of your labor, not only teaching these students, but seeing them go out into society.
Every minute of my life. Every minute of the people who worked in the center. I see many faces here. Yeah.
Incredible work.
It's an amazing experience,
Your career in nonprofit is honestly very admirable. I know it was a group effort, but I see a certain passion coming from you. What advice would you give to women who are looking to turn their passions into nonprofits that are sustainable, that can last through the years, such as the center, and that can make an impact?
For women and men as well.
Both women and men.
For women and men. Go ahead
Mm.
and touch your dream. Go ahead and do it. That's the only thing I can. Believe in yourself.
Right.
Believe that you can do it and it happens.
And
Dream first
yeah,
and then work.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Ms. Faten, for your time today.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you all for coming here to listen. Thank you, Sheikh Hussa, for suggesting, giving us this opportunity to speak to the public. And thank you all, Center for Child Teaching. I mean, there are some of them, very few of them are here. Thank you very much. They are the doers now.
They indeed are.
They are the doers. They created miracles. Thank you very much.